Round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause. You wanted me to talk a little bit about teamwork. There's a coach I always reference, Saleh, I think, for the Jets. He talked about, he got Aaron Rodgers, which was before he tore his Achilles. He said, even you, Aaron, can learn something here. So I'm going to tell you, there's 4 different types of players that are represented on every team and in every organization. The first type is a survivor. And he said, I guarantee you, there's one of you in this room that is a survivor. And the survivor only does the minimal amount to get by. I don't sense the survivor. I sense competitors or commanders, and you're going to see what those are. But the survivor does the minimum amount to get by. They're not that happy about, they're not giving it their all for the team or themselves, and they try to bring others along with them. That's called a survivor. And we try to identify them in our business as much as possible and get them out. They're actually not helping you or helping each other. When you work together as a unit, just like in the military, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So you've got the survivor. You identified that. Second is the contender. And the contender will do everything they can for the flash. Let's say you're a professional athlete. They're the flashy ones. They're the ones who get the big contract, but they don't care about the rest of the team. All they care about is the flash. And they'll do anything to keep that flash. That's when they'll work hard. But they only care about themselves and the money. So you've heard about these big teams back when, Jimmy Johnson was, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys back in the 90s. And they won a couple Super Bowls in a row. And even the third coach who took over, Barry Switzer, won one more because he didn't have to do anything. He just ran the team that Jimmy put together. But when Jerry Jones started micromanaging Jimmy Johnson, he's like, hang on, I put this team together. It's like, I want to have say so. It's my team. I own it. He hasn't won a Super Bowl since because he micromanages it. And so the owner's trying to be a coach, which is not his talent. That's how you don't win. But you have to have a coach that's passionate, like your coach is here, and you all have to do the best that you can for each other. You do the best you can for yourselves, but in your case, you're an absolute teamwork. And so the harder you work, I was taught this when I was young. I was on the swim team. I was on McAllen's swim team, okay? I grew up in McAllen. We only had 13 swimmers. And we swam at the McAllen Boys Club and in the McAllen Municipal Pool. Swimming wasn't that big of a sport back then, So our coach was so intense, he made me believe that if I ate that fork or this metal because it was filled with iron, I'd eat it. I just believed in everything he said. He made me believe. He said, Charlie, even if that guy next to you has a faster time than you, better than your best time ever, if he's next to you, have you put in more work than him? Can you dig deeper down inside? If he starts turning over faster, could you start turning over faster than him? And who's gonna have more gas in the tank, you or him? Well, me. As long as he's next to you, he sets the standard, you can beat him. So I'd get excited when somebody was next to me who had a 2-second better time than me because I'd say, Coach, I'll beat him as long as he does his best time. I'm doing my best, that's for sure. And I believe that. And even the swimmers, we'd go to San Antonio. So I won South Texas Junior Olympics against all of the swimmers from Austin, all the swimmers from San Antonio, Houston on down. And we, as a team of 13 swimmers, went up to Dallas to what's called TAGS, Texas Age Group Swimming. And we swam against every big school in the state, but I'm talking, 10, 11 years old. But we would get first, second, or third in every event. So all the swimmers like, those McAllen team, they're cheaters. They have to be putting stuff in their water. Stuff in my water? I'm swimming in the same water you are. What are you talking about? You dummy. We're swimming in the same pool. They put stuff in their water to make them faster. They couldn't explain how a small team, where's McAllen? What are you all talking about? Rio Grande Valley? They were 200 swimmers in this big fancy pool and a big fancy coaches, a big fancy everything. My coach was so irritating because he would be, he could whistle so loud and he would dial into us. And if we took off and we were a little too anxious, he'd be like, he'd say somebody on the other side of the pool. I was like, I'd breathe, I would look and somebody's over there. So we just listened to his whistle and we would either step it up or slow it down. But it was like conducting an orchestra. He'd have a certain whistle for one and a certain whistle for the other. And I didn't pay attention to the hurt. I paid attention to the whistle. So I was pushing my body so hard, I was only paying attention to my coach. And he would tell the parents, I'm sorry, but Well, my son's worked hard this year and my daughter's worked hard. We need to take a vacation of 2 weeks. He goes, sorry, then you're not gonna have your kid on my team. We don't take 2-week vacations. You get 2 days off for the summer. 1 in July and 1 in August. That's it. And that's how hard we worked. And we swam 5 hours a day. When I was 8, I started swimming when I was 8, till I was 14, and then I swam all the way through college. And I earned my scholarship in college. And I swam in Florida for 2 years, and then I swam for Texas Christian University. But I had to walk on. I wasn't the fastest guy on the team. I had gotten a little too much up here in my head. I stopped having fun. I started obsessing about it. And so I was like, oh man, start, turn, finish. Constantly, I couldn't turn it off. I'd be sweating just standing there. You know, I wasn't having fun anymore, but I didn't want to be a quitter. So the main thing is you got to have fun, you know, enjoy what you're doing. Raise your hand if you all have fun doing what you're doing. Okay, there you go. I'm very proud of you guys. When I heard you guys had done what you've done, I just wanted to come over here and tell you, you know, keep pushing hard, listen to your coaches. They obviously care about you and love you very much and care about your future. And depending on what you do here is going to determine the rest of the road.
Wait, how did you become about that? Like, how is that your place?
That's a very good question. Now, a lot of people have inherited their businesses, right? It's very hard to get into a car dealership unless your family sort of passes it on to you. And I was supposed to be a 4th generation of McAllen at the Chevy store and the Honda store. You know, I had step family who had other plans. And I might have been somewhat included in those plans, but I wasn't going to take that risk, so to speak. And it became like a battle. And I had already had a good career. I had great mentors. I worked for one of the largest car dealers in the country to learn the car business right out of college. I just went to sell cars because I told my friends, they were like, what are you going to do, Chuck? You're going to go sell cars? You didn't need to get a fancy degree from TCU to go sell cars. Anybody can do that. Like, I don't want to be that kid that, you know, is just there because of his daddy, you know? I didn't want to be like that. I went to Charleston, South Carolina. I worked for Rick Hendricks. They own right now 106 dealerships, and they own Hendrick Motorsports. So the guys who got number 1 and 2 in NASCAR this year, they own 4 NASCAR teams, and they were number 1 and number 2. And now I'm working back with them again. I started just selling cars for them. I just went to sell cars to learn the car business in a place where nobody knew my name and nobody cared. So I knew if I could survive a couple years there just selling, then I knew my trade. Then I could look you in the eye and tell you if you're right or wrong, because I already survived off it, not because daddy handed me the keys. So I earned it from the ground up. And then I worked for my family for a while and ended up, you know, taking our Chevy store and had a great team. Again, it was my team. I was driving myself crazy because I couldn't get the right team together. I had to find one guy, one ally. They were losing so much money. I said, guys, you just can't shut the door at 5 o'clock when you're losing money. Otherwise, this place shuts down. You got to go and find something else to do. Well, first I had to find that ally, and I found a guy named Carlos Reyes, and he was a very, very hard worker. He was from the Dominican Republic, and he worked very, very hard. And from there, everybody else that was sitting back with their feet up on the desk, fuera. I expect everyone here to work as a team. You don't make a decision to let a customer leave without letting me say goodbye to them. A lot of salespeople try to take the shortcut. And it's like, are you ready to buy now? No, okay. You know, no, I gotta help you. I gotta figure out how to best serve you. If I do the best job I can to help you, somebody taught me that a long time ago. Like, Charlie, you're trying too hard to sell. You just need to help people, and then the sale will come. Thank God my banker was like, well, I've seen your work habits. I trust you. I know how hard you work. He had to take a risk on me. He had to convince the bank. David Rogers, thank you, sir. They had to believe in my honesty. They had to believe in my integrity. And you have to have it in you first. Well, number one, if it's not there, it's not there. From that one little tiny Nissan store, and we made it to number 1 in the nation out of Harlingen, Texas. And then we made it to number 1 in the nation out of Brownsville, Texas. And then we made it to number 1 in the nation. Once they gave me El Paso, we made it to number 1 in the nation out of El Paso, Texas. So how about them apples? And all 3 of our Nissan dealerships right now are top 10 in the nation out of 1,100 and something dealers. Lady Cards, orale!